As I I had no idea I was going to do this tonight, or yeah, tonight actually. And you'll see this later on this week. This won't be posted right away, but when you do see it, um, first and foremost, I always want to thank the viewers who tune in and watch my testimonies. Like I always say, I really appreciate it when you stop in and you take the time to watch these. They mean the world to me, because for the simple fact is that you're listening to something that is either closely passionate to me, or just me expressing my emotions, or talking about my book series, or talking about mental health, because it's always a number of things that I end up coming in and talking about. And it's not always focused on me either, but it gives you a general insight on who I am as a human being, as a person. And, as I'm preparing to do more projects on the side and getting back into my writing and working on my 6th book in the Journey Collection series, there's a lot, like I've said before, there's a lot involved when I do these projects, because I always put my full heart into everything that I do. But I don't want to lose perspective on who I am as a person either. And I recently took the time to think about this. And I'm sure a lot of you will relate with this on a certain level, or whatever situation or circumstance you're in. There are people in our lives, or maybe it's in our family, who likes to take control over you, who is overly protective, or wants to dictate everything. You have to stick to who you are as a human being, as a person, and know who you are. Is that what I said? I think I just said that. Sometimes I talk in circles, and I have to apologize about that. But yeah, I know this very well, because I live with that in my life. And I believe, now this is where I'm coming from, I believe that, no, see, I just lost my train of thought. I know, I get like this sometimes, I lose my train of thought. My gosh. Yeah, this is what happens when I do these at the last minute. I forget what I'm talking about, or I'm just not sure what I'm saying. The way I look at this, and the way I believe in it, is that don't let yourself, or don't put yourself at higher expectations. Not just around yourself, but don't let others expect more out of you, because you're already expecting a lot out of yourself. If that makes any sense at all. For years, I've had a lot of people always looking over my shoulder and always watching what I do, whether it's work-wise or just things in general, basically. And always expect more out of me, or have higher expectations. It's bad enough when you have your own expectations on yourself. And I do. For myself, I do. I have a lot of expectations. I put a lot on myself at times. That's just a habit I'll always have. It's just the way I am. If something's not done the way I feel like it should be done, then I beat myself up over it. And I try not to do that, because then I just get stressed and irritated and, all those, you know, um, blood pressure raising moments. And, it's hard. It's hard. And I had mentioned this on Twitter, because, a lot of people think, well, if you just coast by through life, you're not really learning anything. We're all put through complicated situations for a reason, and it's to challenge our faith, um, or try to lose sight of ourselves. And, it could be very downing on you. Uh, it could really weigh you down. It really can weigh you down in a lot of ways, because you already have those expectations put on yourself. And when others expect even more out of you, then you feel like you have to live up to theirs. Well, for me, I don't know if this would apply to you, but for me, I don't live up to everybody else's expectations. And I'm talking in circles again. I had mentioned something that I had wrote on my Twitter page, that people who tell you that life is easy, they're lying. There's no such thing as having an easy life. Life is very complicated. That's just the way it is. And of course, we're all going to have those uncertain times and the struggle and the challenge, but it really tests our faith and where we stand as human beings and individuals. For me, I'm highly, highly independent, and I don't like to be categorized, and I don't like to be labeled. It's just the way it is. And that's where I'm coming out with this testimony, is not to always expect others, how do I want to put this? Don't live up to everyone else's expectations put on you, because that can be very damaging to someone's self-esteem. I've always been a self-confident person. I've always been capable of doing things. Like I say, I'm highly independent. And there are things that I know I can do very well at, but then there are things that I'm not very good at doing. So I practice. I practice a lot. And it just makes me learn to appreciate things more, learn and grow as a human being. I just believe that's how we should all learn to adapt with life challenges or struggles that we may be going through. It shapes us into the person we really want to be and need to be, balancing our lives, but also working and knowing that family is really important, and not putting things on the back burner. And I've had to learn to do a lot of this, put a lot of things on the back burner, and just enjoy my life the way it's meant to be enjoyed. There's so much of it to live. And there are days where my anxiety, my generalized anxiety and depression kind of overcome me a bit. And I never know when it comes on. And I do the best that I can at anything I do anymore. I don't live up to everybody's expectations of what they think I should, do. I do what I know I need to do for me. That's just my opinion. So if you relate to this in some way or another, I'm happy you do, because that's why I always come in and do these testimonies. And I never know what I'm going to say in these. And sometimes stutter or talk in circles or stop or pause like I did in this one. It, because, these are not scripted. They're not planned. They just happen. And this is who I really am as a human being. I have my scars, my acne, my flaws, imperfections. We're all like this. I see people on a day-to-day basis and, social events and outings and just in generally speaking. So it's just, you have to take the good with the bad and not always worry. I'm a worrier. I worry a lot about things and I shouldn't, but I do. That's just how I'm programmed. Fortunately, and I try not to worry. There are things that I do worry about too much, I think, at times, and I have to remind myself not to worry over it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just let it roll off your back and go with the flow, really. And I don't want to make this much longer, but I just wanted to put some insight out there to you folks, and I'm sure um, you can relate to this on so many levels. Just don't ever give up. Don't feel that temptation come across, because it can really consume you. And temptation can consume a person, and it can either make you stronger in faith, or it can weaken you. But I have this philosophy. Now, this is my own philosophy, actually. The weakest person, or the weakest people, have more strength than those who aren't weak at all. Or I don't know if that made sense. Sometimes I don't make sense when I'm talking. Uh, so, but my philosophy is that some of the weakest people are probably the strongest people I know, and they don't give up, and they're very determined individuals. That's my philosophy on that. So, that's why I wanted to come in. I just, just automatically started thinking about this, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to talk about this in this testimony, and I'm sure I'll come back again sometime this week and give you another testimony. I enjoy doing these. I really, really do. They make me feel really good when I do them, and just taking that time to talk to you out there on social media. And I'm always looking forward to your input or your comments. I enjoy reading the comments from a lot of you who are out there watching these. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all again soon.